Now, throughout the rest of the rehearsal period, what else do we have to do? What's the next hurdle as they go along? And each night you work things, they're getting better, they're getting used to talking to the other person. What's the next big hurdle?
Adding the elements to it. Set, lights, costume.
That's not the next big hurdle, because they're working on approximation of the set already. If they have, by the way, extravagant costume, you don't give them costume, but you tell them, if they're going to wear a cape, if you got an overcoat, and sometimes people will do it on their own. If they know they're going to use a cane, they'll bring in a stick, and they'll start working with it.
Mm-hmm.
As we mentioned before, once you start in this fifth realm, you need to see it earlier too, but you can't let them go on if there's a major characterization and they're not doing it.
Mm-hmm. How about getting them off book?
Yes. That's the next big hump. So you don't get them off book for the whole play at the same time. You get them off for the first certain segments. Those will have been worked more often than any. Not literally, because you'll have done them all, but I mean they will have been worked primarily. How you work the scenes when you're working the scenes is the primary scenes foundation must be there. And that you will not let the next segments of scenes go along until you get that.
When you say the primary scenes, you mean
the first Act 1, Scene 1. The first segments, the foundation of the play exists in those moments.
Yeah, it's laid out, right?
Yeah. Everything that has to happen has to build on that.
Right.
So you will have done more work on those moments to make sure that's there than the other moments that follow that. Because once that's there, intuitively, the other scenes will be better.
Yeah, it always seems like when one is rehearsing, that Act 1 always seems better rehearsed than Act 2.
Well, that also has to do with people not dealing with making sure that people understand in Act 2 that they're doing the right thing. They're only relying on the intuitive response of the actor being built on Act 1 and so forth. And as you go along, you do this whole fifth segment where you go through the play and you're working the parts the way we've talked about tonight, with the manner of a director, not a dictator, a guide, not a dictator. Then everything you will have done in that lets them see that they're going on the way to establishing the basic reality that leads throughout the whole play. When it's talked about the spine of the play or other thing else like that, it means if you start at the tailbone, that's where you start. But nonetheless, each day you're going up more toward the brain. And if you don't start with the tailbone, then you can't get to the spine. So, in a sense, you will work more on the first parts of the play. But in this kind of circumstance that you mentioned, sometimes the second act always seems it's not as well rehearsed as the first. Usually that's because the director or actor or both have not paid the same attention to marrying the intuition to the intellect in the later scenes. They'll have just accepted the intuition. And when that's, as I said before, when somebody's even reading it right in the second phase of rehearsals, you want to make sure they know they're reading it right. You say, yeah, and you're saying that way because why? They said, because he loves her and he just has realized it. Say, that's good, go on. You know they said it right, but you want to make sure that they know that they said it right, not just that they felt it right.
Right.
So usually that happens in the second and third act when people, because the first act may be fairly well prepared, and now they go into the second act just riding the intuition only, and they have not been nailed down intellectually. So as you're working, you tell them when it's good. But you don't make a big deal out of it. You don't compliment anybody. You don't ever compliment them. Oh, you're doing so well. No, because they read the phoniness in the compliment. Compliments are phony behavior. Just in life, they're phony behavior. A compliment is something I know I'm being complimentary. Instead, what I'm saying is not supposed to be that I know I'm being complimentary. It's supposed to be genuine. I really feel this. And sometimes...
So you don't mean any compliment, like, if you really think that somebody got a great haircut or something, that if you say it genuinely, that's okay. You mean compliment in the sense that when it's not genuine.
Exactly. Or that the manner of compliment is superseding what's being said. You were so good in this. The manner I'm saying that is, you hear all of that.
But it is
Instead
okay.
of saying, it's coming along, that was good. One thing you don't want to do for an actor is say, that was good tonight, because you say, what did I do? I got to repeat that. So you don't want that ever. But you want to say, generally, it's coming along. I like how it's coming along. So we got other work to do, so don't worry. Not there yet, but coming along. That kind of general sense that a compliment is usually something I'm saying to you so you will know you're being complimented. So that you know that I know I'm complimenting you. Shouldn't be that. It should just be an assessment. But it happens to be a positive assessment. A compliment is also personal. An assessment is never personal. Assessment is only, it's either there or it's not. It's coming along or it isn't. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with you. That has anybody watching anybody else doing this would say, yeah, we're starting to be there. So this goes to manner of dealing with people. Because the problem with compliments is manyfold. As many actors as you see, you say you want to boost somebody's confidence, so you start complimenting them. The other actors say, well, what he's doing is shit. So now I say something to that actor, he's not going to believe me. Oh, he's just saying the same bullshit to me the way he said it to so-and-so. So that's what I mean. You don't compliment anybody. But you do tell them, yeah, it's coming along. That's good. I like how you're working. I like how the things are going. Certain things I said earlier on, when they do something in their own blocking and things like that, that are good, like he goes around the semicircle that night and leans over her shoulder to say it in her ear, and now I put him on the stage, I will say, yeah, you know that thing you did? Do that again. Because that's the action that they took at that moment. It's not the essence of the reality. That's just how the essence of the reality described itself at that moment, or displayed itself at that moment. So I like the way it was displayed. I'll tell him, let's try to keep that in. So the next time he does it, he'll come over and lean over her shoulder and say, but if he comes over and leans over her shoulder, and now tonight he's only imitating the activity, I stop it. I say, no, what you're doing physically is all right, but did we forget what that moment is? What is it he's really doing? And he does it in this manner. That's fine. I liked when you did it, so that's why I said keep it in. But that's not what's being done. What's being done is the underneath essence. That's what he's going through, and it displays itself. It manifests in this behavior, which you thought of on your own in the way we were working in the semicircle, and I liked it, so let's keep it in. But I don't let him just do that, because the actor will have a tendency to say, oh, you liked when I did that, so now I'm going to do that. And he forgets the other thing that's really a display of. So there you would stop him and so forth.
Right.
All right. So when you've worked through the play, now 2.5 weeks into it, and the next thing is you want to start getting people off book. Well, again, not for the whole play. So tonight, let's try to be off book for Act 1, Scene 1. Now, what happens when they go off book?
They're not quite in it generally, because they're thinking about what's my next line, and they're a little out of sorts.
Yeah. And so what do?
So you say, that's okay. It's to be understood that the first time off book, you're a
in a sense, it's almost a waste rehearsal.
Yeah, you're a little bit out of bay,
But you do try to keep them on the
On
essence
point,
of the
yeah.
moment.
On point, yeah.
You do keep them tethered to that middle long tether. And you do that by saying, now what was that again that this moment is? And yeah, I know it, but I couldn't remember what to say. Well, just say it in your own words for the night. Now, also, when they're off book, you need somebody as an assistant director on book. And essentially the best way, I think, for people to do it is just, they get to where, and I don't know what I'm supposed to say now, so they just say line, and the person reads them their line. And almost always they say, oh, yeah, that's what it is. They know what it is, but they didn't get it because now they're off book and they're under the pressure of trying to remember and everything. The whole process, really, of learning the lines should come from learning the realities, and that then this is the best way to say it. Mm-hmm. So that even when people are working on things, all of those first 4 periods are going to help them know their lines, although you haven't even thought about knowing the lines, because they know what's happening at that moment. I met you at Yankee Stadium for the second game. You, in your mind, had decided at some point that you were going to get a pork sandwich.
Yeah.
So the time came to get a pork sandwich. You didn't have to have any prompting to remember that. What sandwich was it I wanted? Let me see now. I know I thought I wanted a sandwich. Or did I want... I know I wanted something to eat. Was it a sandwich? No. At some point you had said to yourself, I think when I get there tonight, or even if we're coming in, you say,
right.
I'm a little hungry. I like those pork sandwiches. Some point...
I decided, right.
When you get to that moment, you already know the reality.
Yeah.
You don't have to remind yourself. And so when an actor says, oh yeah, that's it, what he's saying is not that I forgot the reality, that he remembers. He just forgot what words the author is using to say it. And he wants to grab onto those words perfectly. And I want to make sure I say my line totally right. And you want to take that off of them. That's why you say, just say it in your own words when you can't remember it. And then if they have no idea what it is, because now they're discombobulated because they can't remember it, and they're frustrated, and they think everybody's looking at me, and they're thinking what a shit actor I am because I can't remember my lines, and all the things that go on in their heads, just say, line. Now, what's my line? What am I supposed to say now? Any of those kinds of things. Just have them say line.
So you're saying to encourage them not to call a line first, but to just put it in their own way first?
No, if they get to say line, first thing I'm going to do is say, well, what are you saying? In other words, I'm not going to let the person give them their line. And I'm going to be there. So even if the person starts to give them their line, I'm going to say, well, wait a second. To the assistant director, I'll say, wait a second. And I'll say, wait a minute. Now what? Just say it in your own words. What's going on there? Well, I want to tell her. Well, just tell her then. Don't worry about getting the line exactly right. You'll have a chance after tonight to
review.
Go look at your script.
Yeah, to review.
We're not going to take your script away from you, but just go ahead and say it. And then by then, if they are a certain kind of actor, they'll be all discombobulated. Oh my, I didn't know my lines and everybody hates me and everything thinks I'm a fool and blah, blah, blah. What's going on?
Right.
Why do I need to talk to the person at all? And you will have gone through that whole process in the second phase of the rehearsal, so that now they know those moments.
And you had mentioned that's how you memorize too. You memorize
Exactly.
by going logic.
Right.
So you make connections. Right.
And so you do those things in the second level, and he will remember those things. So that later on, when you get to the 5th level and you're working things, and he has to now get off book, he should remember what the moment is. You shouldn't have to remind him what the moment is.
Right.
He just can't remember the exact terminology.
Right.
And you get that monkey off his back by just, first of all, when he doesn't remember, just say, well, you say it in your own words. And if he's discombobulated, he can't even think now, then you say, well, isn't it that he feels that she's the only one he could ever love? You paraphrase some kind of thing of the line, and try to make sure that he gets back to what he already knows, because you put it into his mind in the second level of rehearsal.
Right.
Then you went in the third level of rehearsal and tried to make sure he kept it.
Yeah, he kept
and then
it.
you went into the fourth level where he can now move around and so forth. But you also want to make sure his movements don't make him forget what he was that moment is. Then you go into the fifth level of rehearsals, working things closely. By closely, I mean short things, more definite into just this segment. You know, the first act, first scene, until somebody else comes in with the other two, whatever, however you have set it up.
Yeah.
And even there, you're also making sure that you're trying to keep his mind on what it is the reality is. What it is that you're saying now, forget the words, whether you... So when he now forgets it, it shouldn't be that he doesn't know what the moment is. It may be that he can't think even what the moment is because he's embarrassed and discombobulated because I could never remember that. And that we try to take out of everybody's problem by doing those first steps of rehearsal. So that's how now you get them to start dealing with what it is to get off book. Then, after everybody's had a chance to be off book, the next time you also want them off book. But now next time you hold a little tighter rein about making sure that the moments are not only understood, but that they're played. You give them leeway the first time off book. You want to make sure that they understand it. You don't want to demand that they play it, because they're trying to remember their lines. They don't want to look stupid in front of the other people and all of that. But now the next time through, you hold the reins a little tighter. You want to make sure that they not only know it, but that they're playing it. So now you go through the whole play with that, and everybody's now off book for the whole play. What's the next thing? By the way, we're probably 3.5 or 4 weeks into rehearsal now with this.
The next thing would be the elements that I mentioned.
Yeah. Now they're going to have to do things with props, so forth like that.
Costume.
What's the problem of props?
Well, you have to rehearse with them really, because it has to be married to everything else that you've been doing.
Yeah.
It's throwing another...
That's true.
Yeah, and also, you know...
By the way, you let people, and maybe even if it's a significant prop, like she has to hold a gun on somebody, you know, you give her a stick or you give her something early on.
Yeah.
So she's not doing this.
Right. But the reality of the real thing, when they have the real prop, it's always different than either what they were doing with an imaginary prop or with something that they were using as a substitute. The real thing is always something that they have to get used to. It may have a different weight, it may have a different size.
Right.
And
now the weight and size of what?
Of the prop itself.
Now, besides that, which is really only a pragmatic thing, now can't just hold a stick and point it at you. I got to have my finger in where the trigger is, and I got to hold the butt this way and so forth, and I got to point it in the right direction. That's the real thing that's going to make you do that. What else? What else is the problem with props?
Do actors sometimes want to let the prop do the work for them? You know what I mean? They forget to do the thing now that
Well, all the way through, even when you're adding anything, the main thing you're concerned is that they don't let go of that middle tether. What the spine of the play is.
The essence.
The essence of the moment. I don't care what else happens, you never let them get away.
So in other words, don't lose the situation. It always has to be the situation.
Right.
And the character within, the character truth within the situation.
Yeah.
The other trouble with props? Not sure.
Every actor uses the props as if they're props.
Ah. Yes.
Lee said
Reality.
that if somebody was leaving with a suitcase, Carmen would put bricks in the suitcase when they brought the prop on. Guy didn't know it, but when he picks it up, now I'm leaving. It's heavy. Because otherwise it's a prop. It's an empty suitcase.
Yes.
So where am I going with an empty suitcase?
Right.
Actors always use props as if they're props.
Yes.
And you have to make them, once they're given that, or once they start to show up with that. It's not the basic thing of the night that you do, add props. The basic thing is keep playing the situation. But as you add props, it's like when you put frosting on a cake. You don't destroy the cake to put the frosting on, but also you make sure that the frosting is not just ugly splotch of bad plastering. It has to be shaped, and people put little kind of curly cues on the thing, and as they lift it up, the little peaks of the frosting and stuff like that. It has to be done right. Well, the props are like the frosting. They have to be done right. And so you will make sure that they pay attention to the reality. In the example, I wouldn't do what Clerman did and put bricks in it to make them sure. That's just a mechanical thing. I'd say, I see you're holding your suitcase. Why? I'm leaving. What, so leave? What do you got a suitcase for? Well, I want to take some clothes. What clothes you want to take with you? When somebody leaves somebody with their suitcase, what are they taking with them? They're not taking their clothes. They're taking their life with that other person. I'm taking my presence. So that suitcase is not a suitcase. The suitcase is I have my life in my hands when I go out the door. And the only reason I'm taking it is because I'm not planning to come back. It's a significant thing. And so when they add that, you don't add it as a prop. It's only there because it's part of the main tether. Mm-hmm. And you make sure they realize that. Everybody handles guns. Nobody handles them
the way they would if you gave them a real gun.
Have you ever
It said
held a real gun?
bullets in here, and
Have you ever shot a real pistol?
I've never.
That's one kind of thing. Say if you move again, I'm going to slit his throat.
And this is more dangerous.
See already? I'm not even anywhere near you.
I already have my eye on that.
Exactly. I'm not anywhere near you. I wasn't even going to put it near you.
Right.
I was just going to show it here, where the edge is there.
Did you see how my eyes?
Yeah,
went
not
right
only
to-
that,
In fact,
but
I
your
was
whole
interested
body.
in that one when this one was over here.
Yeah, your whole body changed.
Yeah.
So
Because
it had a
intuitively, I
prop.
said, "You could kill me with that thing."
Yes. So you have to do something with the actor to let him see what the reality is. Mm-hmm. If he's not playing the reality of that prop. Because that prop is only in the play to threaten you now. It's not to be a prop. You know, if it's a knife at your throat. Is this son of a bitch going to get fucked up in his acting and actually cut my throat?
Yeah, right.
Now, that's only so you'll know it. You don't use a real prop. Because just everybody can know exactly the right thing, and it could slip and hurt somebody. Mm-hmm. So you never use a real prop. But the problem with adding props is people play them as props.
Writing letters, people fake reading, or reading the letter, they don't actually read anything.
No,
The writing,
exactly.
they fake writing.
Every actor who has to write anything, I'm going to say, write something there. Mm-hmm. Well, what do I write? And then they're thinking of, oh, what do I write? No. Describe what your scene partner is doing now. This stupid son of a bitch can never play this fucking part of this thing. If they will write it, I'm not going to ask him to show anybody. I'm going to make sure, though, that he's writing something that's meaningful to him. Mm-hmm. Not just writing something. I saw a cow once when I was a child. You know. No, but something that's meaningful to him now. And the most meaningful thing to an actor is always what's happening on stage when you're on there.
Yeah.
So anything that they have to deal with that's a prop, you've got to make sure that they make it real to themselves. And you've got to help them sometimes. The thing Clerman was trying to do was show you can't handle an empty suitcase like it's empty when it's supposed to be full. But that's not that's a mechanical way of doing it by just putting bricks in it so it'll be heavy to show them that it's supposed to be heavy. That symbolizes something, and that's what has to be played. So props use always symbolizes something. When Hedda Gabler takes a gun and shoots it early in the play at somebody coming in the door and they have to duck, everybody, oh, the prop gun went off and now I pretend I'm ducking. No. I'll take both of those people and put them through something that make them know, listen, this can affect you. I'll give her a fly swatter. And say, when he comes in, swat him on the head with it. And I'm not going to tell him. And he comes in and she swats him on the top of the head with it. He's affected now. So I said, okay, now, how much difference do you think there would be from getting swatted on the head when you didn't expect it to being shot at when you didn't expect it? So he's had to feel that swat. It's not going to be a pleasant thing. But it gives him a sense that this is not a moment where props are involved. This is a moment where somebody can do something to you. And did they miss you on purpose, or did they just miss you accidentally? Because she doesn't hit him when he comes in. But she shoots. That ain't playing around. When a woman is shooting a pistol in your direction, it ain't playing around. So
that's real.
That's what you do, and that's the problem of props, and that's what you have to do in a rehearsal period to deal with props. So what else?
The other elements are costume.
Yep.
And same kind of issue with you have to get used to the costume. You have to,
right.
Move in it.
And early on, by the fifth thing, if he wears the cape all the way through the play, I said, don't you have an overcoat or something? You ought to, because you're going to move differently. Mm-hmm. I don't want him coming to something. If it's
completely
just
cold, yeah.
Right. If anything that's going to be totally different from just normal behavior. In other words, in Dial M for Murder, I don't know what coat and tie Stephen is going to wear through it, but I want him wearing that from the start. If all the way through he wears a coat and tie. And that's symbolic. It's not just a coat and tie. That character's a little tied up and stuffed. Whatever it is to wear that coat and tie all the way through the play means that I am not really open physically with my wife. There's a reason that she takes a lover. It's not because she just wants to have as much sex as she can. It's not that she has a single male's libido. She's not getting connection that's intimate with this husband. That's why she has an affair in the first place. Because she connects with somebody not to have an affair, but the affair grows out of their personal connection. So with the costumes in that play, the fact that he's always got a coat and tie on is not just that he's kind of upper-class British, but it's that it symbolizes he's too constrained and in here for whatever reason, and he's not open to the wife physically and so forth in ways that she needs to be fulfilled, to be intimate with someone. So I want him already in a coat and tie. And if he doesn't come with it on his own, then I'm going to say, just tomorrow bring a coat and tie and let's start using that. Because it's part of the play. And when he brings it the next night, I say, I want you to do this because, it's not just that he wears a coat and tie, that's what your costume will be. It's that all the things I've just talked about why it's in the play. Also, if they are, for instance, the restoration, and there's the wigs, and there's the fluffy, both collars and cuffs, and all of that. Why? Why is it there with the people? The Scarlet Pimpernel, he talks about that when he's trying to be a fop. And he says, when you gesture with your arms, it should be a swallow's flight, because he's trying to hide behind this foppish character while he's actually going off and being the Scarlet Pimpernel. So he does this, but he really talks about what it was. When he tries to be a fop, he's not a bad fop, he's an excellent fop. He knows. So now they're in a restoration play. This is to enhance the gesture, all of this ruffles and stuff like that. So they have to know that. They have to know why these things are in the play as opposed to not being in the play. Because that's going to affect how they move it. So already in the third stanza of rehearsals, I want him to recognize that and to bring in some kind of a frilly thing. I don't care what it is, if he just pins a handkerchief around his sleeve to make those gestures, because now he's going to be starting to make those gestures to her. Let's just try to wind up with this. Everything that has to happen with sound and lights.
Yeah.
As far as dealing with the actors, each of those times that something new is added, when the props are added, when the costume is added, when the lights are there differently, when the sound is there differently, all of those things are there for certain reasons. And for instance, The first night I'm under the lights. And it's in Moon for the Misbegotten. And now it's all blue lights. Up to then it's just been rehearsal lights. But now it's the blue lights of night. And she is looking at, Josie is looking at Tyrone because she's holding him and it's night and he's come over to confess. And I'm going to say to her the night that we have rehearsal under lights the first time, you've been looking at him through the play, right? You've looked at him and every night when we had the other lights, that's just rehearsal lights. Now these lights are picked. They're not just, we're putting lights on so it'll be colorful. They're picked for certain things in the scene. So I'd ask her, when you look at him now, tonight, under these lights, what's different? Now what's going to be different under blue lights?
There might be a calmer tone, more peaceful tone.
Generally atmospheric, yeah. When she looks at Tyrone, what is she going to see that's different? Where are the lights going to take effect?
On his face.
On his skin. Now, she's seen him in normal rehearsals, and the guy she's working with is a normal live human being, so that means she's going to see what in his face?
Every little mark.
Well, yeah, but she's also going to see that he's alive.
Yeah.
She's going to see the color of his blood in his face.
Right.
Now, she's under blue lights.
She won't see the color in his face.
So now she sees him more ashen.
Yeah.
And what is he?
A corpse, right?
He's a dead man walking.
Yeah.
So therefore, I pointed out to her, not by telling her, but by asking her, like I did you, and trying to talk to about the reality. So now that she is appreciative of what's been changed in the lighting. And if you have prepared them properly, everything that they start to get is not a burden. If you do normal rehearsal period, conventional kind of rehearsal period, everything's a burden. Well, now I got to walk around the wall? But no, if they've been prepared properly, everything is a help. Mm-hmm. I have something, they're going to give me a metallic gun, not capable of really killing. Mm-hmm. But so when I pick up that, I'll feel the weight of it. I'll feel there's weight in it, like there's in a real gun. Mm-hmm. I've done this fly swatter thing to know that she could hit me with that. Mm. And so now that she'll have the sense of weight in this, and he'll have the sense of that ain't a fly swatter, even though that he knows it's a prop. Mm-hmm. But they'll be much happier to have that than when he was supposed to, well, how am I supposed to be scared when she points a stick at me? Mm-hmm. That's what he'll think about. So the having props won't be a burden, it'll be a help. Having the sets start to be built around them will be a help. Now I feel like I'm in the room. I told you before when we used the dining area in the Three Sisters, I had gold-plated rather than silver-plated. Believe me, when people came in to play that, to rehearse on that, first time I had it, everybody was very appreciative. Oh, look, it's gold. Everybody responded positively to it. Because it gave them a sense, this is right. Yeah, now I feel I'm in the Prozorov's house or whatever the name of the family, I've forgotten. But they feel like, now I'm there.
Yeah.
So all the things that'll happen, and you show them how the lights are designed that way and so forth like that.
Right.